is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at Key from SHINee's solo entitled Tongue Tied. Now, I had no idea this was getting launched at all. I saw it on my recommended today, so I'm glad I caught it so we can take a look. If you do not know, I have marathoned the entirety of SHINee's discography, including all of Key's solo work, so I am right in the thick of it in terms of just his movement quality and his perspective as an artist in this day and age, which is really cool. My gut tells me this may be a Japanese release just based on how Key's name is shown in the title, but we're gonna find out together, so let's go ahead and get started.
Feeling upside down, drinking knocked me down on my mind. You looking devastated. Head to toe, you great. My 보루시가 inside my mind. 그라노 in my head. 너 꼬리 같아다요. 가라다가 아츠쿠테. Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, baby.
Ooh.
I'm craving. 쿠라쿠라したまま君に溺れてる Feel dizzy Oh baby
Nice.
ふわふわした気分まあ悪くはない Tired, 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 tired Tired, 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 tired
Oh, looks like the speakers are taking different parts of people's body parts. Wow. I'm here for the bassist, man. What are we skipping to, Key?
Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, baby.
I love the tension with the tapping. Very nice. Yeah.
Feel dizzy. Oh, baby. ふわふわした気分まあ悪くはない
Nice. Notice with the percussion. Ooh, that whistle was nice too. Wow. It feels subtly like a Harry Styles niche, doesn't it? Ooh. The fact they added just a little mountain climber on that with the legato torso just has me melting. It matches how he sings it so well. I really liked this choreo on Key and just on the track in general. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, firstly, I wasn't expecting this period, but I love the fact that not only does it gives like a very heavy, you know, when you think about the types of harmonies that are in play, they do remind me of like the Harry Styles as a soloist in his current era, which I'm totally here for. I really like it. You know, beginning this basis that's just lit up. Really fun. Feeling upside down. We'll keep the captions on just so we can catch some wordplay. So right here, starting with the angles, boom, boom, boom. Really like that. You could tell that we have Key as our center point. Yes, our costuming has more neutrals going on with our dancers, but with Key himself, he has more of like a primary color represent. I'm assuming blue is just based on the color here. But of course, we have a blue light too, which just makes it feel more rich. And having them extend it up, and then notice that their transitions are very quick but precise, and that helps with the boom, boom. The clarity that we hear in that percussion is very nice. But he ends up having this subtle reverb at the tail end of it before he throws it and tosses it into the next phrase, which I really like. And that was a really dope transition where he goes and he rotates, and he has to have some degree of consistency in order for that turn. Whenever he turns and he finishes up right here, we're here for it. Head to toe, you're great. A fantasy inside my mind. We're tangled in my head. There's our basis that's lit up. Your lingering scent makes my body Grow hot. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, baby.
Now this right here. Oh, baby. So there's tension that's happening, and we're sinking into it over on that left side, and we're adding these extra little taps here to help with our tempo, and it feels a little bit like we're that bass, we're like a sensual bass, and we're, you know, we're hitting those, we're strumming it up. We love it. And so they progress it. We have our first one, our body's more open, and then our second one, it feels like we have more restraint by it, right? I'm craving. He brings it through and threads his head in between. I feel so dizzy. So there's a lot of rotation happening with the wrists, and you notice that if you see me do it pretty quick, it can kind of make you feel a little motion sick, right? So it's something along those lines. I like that choice. It looks cool. And we dig it. I like that, where they do a little body roll with the pickup with the feet. Very nice. Drowning into you. For me, I could also assume that as we are, you know, we're zoning out because we just can't think concisely, right? Because we're just so embedded in your being, man. I'm drowning in you, and they take his energy from there. The zone out was really cool. They step out. I have a feeling we're gonna have either like a live performance of this, I hope, or we're gonna have a dance practice. God, I hope for a dance practice, because I want to be able to look at the all of this choreo. And then feeling dizzy whenever you turn, a lot of times that can be something that people experience as a side effect whenever you turn often, is being dizzy. So I like the fact that a turn was used here. Shout out choreographer for that. We end up reestablishing that tap there. And then for the oh baby, notice that we have our arms restrained but behind us versus above us, so that feels like a variant of something very complementary to what we had already experienced earlier in the course. I like that. Then from here we have that tension built up in the hip. We're loving it. The throw there. The rolls, boom, with a little shoulder accent. Does it give you Michael vibes? Yes, it does, but this feels a little bit more, I would say it does have like a funk niche to it, but not quite. Like for me, maybe it's because I heard it today, Watermelon Sugar, like that's a very gregarious kind of version of this is what it feels like, because some of the harmonies, literally today I was hearing it, just have that overlap. So maybe we're gonna live in that. Of course, the bedazzled fits, the fashion side of things does have some correlation as well that I can relate the two. And there's your subtle James Brown. If you didn't know, Michael Jackson and James Brown, Michael Jackson experienced huge inspiration from James Brown, and James Brown is kind of the godfather of one of the inceptors of how we can end up having funk music. And that's just a really fun thing to be curious about. He's definitely a prominent figure, maybe not necessarily in the hip hop or funk dance scene, but the sound of funk. James Brown is a notable contributor to that, and we can definitely say a huge thank you to him for that. We love it. It's not so bad. We take it, we turn it through. So my gut tells me that he's kind of this, what's going on in his brain, or he's kind of zoning out on himself is kind of what it looks like, or this dreamlike world that's being set up here. Hitting it through, boom. Now this tongue tie, like that whole mess right here, this is probably my favorite move to tone in the entire track, is this right here, because it's a mountain climber. And allowing tongue tie, having a nice filthy trace traveling down the body into a mountain climber, and allowing the body to just kind of be along for the ride. Oh, I'm melting. This feels so, it just feels so good. Like for me, that would feel so good to do. And that move would be convincing enough for me to want to learn this entire thing. Not gonna lie. This is so cool. Then we add a little extra bounce. Kind of feels, yeah, it's a pony. So he does it, he takes it tongue tie. Notice the mountain climber, we're more grounded with the little toe taps. And then from here, we go into a pony. So it's a little bit more rigid, but we're still creating that pulse, which is really nice. Then he goes, whoosh, and then he switches into like a freaking chest bop out the wazoo on that. With the inhale, boom, boom. So the reason why they're able to get such fullness in that finish, in that accent, is because he's able to set it up with some sense of breath, or, you know, inflation of the body. Boom, boom, really nice. And then what he's able to do is create that quickness to complement with the hands, and it makes it feel very full, or much more full than if he was just switching it quickly. What I find interesting is the fact that he is doing something so full like that, but also singing. I'm always impressed by that. Then from there, tongue-tied, of course, we're tying, kind of like our tongue, and then he takes it and brushes it over. Really cool. And there's your little hop right here. Yes, do it again. I want to see it every time. And then honestly, a lot of this looks like You guys tell me, what's the lore, do you think? Maybe tongue-tied, we're taking the mouth, you know, we can't speak, and so we just sucked it out of the room. Really nice. And then we go do-do-do-do, nice, and everyone makes their own kind of restricted choices. Or tying, I get it now. So bondage, a lot of times you think with these types of movements, it all relates to, normally you see somebody restrained through the usage of things that get tied, whether it's a rope, you know, things like that. And so I think a lot of these choreographic choices have that type of wordplay in mind of tongue-tied through bondage, or through just the usage of the mouth, or how does the tone ride, because it's all vocal, so there's more tone priority in the representation of your movement. So I feel like I can see some symptom of intention coming from the choreographer of trying to make a lot of these legato choices just literally feel like we're rolling off the tongue with movement. Oof, we're so here for it. And then a nice little partner section. Boom, there's your accent happening from one of our ladies. He accents out to make it fun. Then he goes and he thrusts his arm in. Really nice surprise. Then he has a nice little isolated moment with his arm. His head complements what she's doing. Her head also matches, so it feels very unified. And then he ends up unraveling it and looking at her. Ooh, I can't wait to see the rest of that. So there's this 7-5, be at your place. Well, where does she live? Can we skip to that? I still don't know what we're skipping to. Very nice, where everybody's making their own choice. Great usage of levels. Good chance that the dancers were told, hey, make sure that you stay in your formation, but also showcase a wide range of levels. And he is able to take a more simpler approach through the chaoticness of what's surrounding him. This is a really great strategy a lot of times to showcase your feature, just like the opposite can be true, where everybody's still except for your feature. So I like that it's utilized here, especially with the kind of color scheme. He's able to, you know, present himself, carry himself the way that he does. I'll never sober up from this intoxication. And whenever you're intoxicated, your decision making is a bit impaired, and a lot of times people are slower to react, you know, when things are impaired. It was kind of my assumption in this. So him creating some subtleties here, just, you know, not looking drunk or anything, but slower to respond in movement, kind of gives off that vibe for me personally, which is what I really like. And from here he goes up, and then everybody comes in, and then they all expand out to your next formation. And then it's the same choreo, but it's a different formation, different environment, so it feels different in tone, right? Even if it's the same in context and you have different performers and different fits, your outfit and your environment can shape how movement can come across, just like a different vocalist on the same part of the music can sound and feel different, and so your movement's going to reflect that as well. I love that. We take it through. Definitely has more of a clear-cut intention with the bleed out of the hand. I feel like with these cuts too, we're able to see little hints of different parts of our choreo, which makes me really happy. So you notice he bleeds it out to the side, and then he folds it down. Really nice tut angle. He has really clean angles, which we're here for. Yep, and then we go right back into the second half, and then, yep, so it goes tap, 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 and notice that hand kind of drops down to the hip, and so when he brings his arms back and behind him, our eyes are naturally kind of wanting to look at the hips, because that's where that hand finished. That was the focal point there. And so when he binds his hands, goodness, past and present tense verbs today are just not verbing, so I apologize if some of my sentences are not grammatically correct. I'll work on it. But as he binds his hands behind him, showcases that subtle isolation of the hips. Does that remind you of something? For me, if we're going to tailor it to the shiny movement quality throughout their eras, I really do think Taemin's move is a really great example of showcasing sensual, but there's like maturity within the sensual movement, and it doesn't feel like overly sexual. It feels artistic, if that makes sense. So it gives off that subtle vibe, but a little bit funkier, which is cool. Like I'm floating, yeah, boom, bah, nice. And then we go and we create those more of a subtle approach, the bleed through. He scoots it back, and everybody branches their head to the side, which is really fun. This is also really fun. I love that choice. Boom, and nice accent there. I'm assuming he may have done a chest pop there. Oh no, boom, yeah. I mean, I feel like he could, because notice that one had a different type of reverb effect compared to the bop that he would do in the earlier course. Now this right here, I like that, where we go to kind of feel like we were doing an isolated wave to travel up with the accent of the head to finish it. Then they brought the knees in. I'm assuming they're about to take the knees that on the percussion and bring it up. It was what my gut or prediction is based on the setup, it looks like here. I like the triple on that. Boom, boom. I like the resistance. Now, we also have to note that with a lot of choreographies, when I see them in the dance practice space first, because I'm seeing it in the music video, there's certain camera angles that really make certain movements that are repeated look really cool and captivating. But in the dance practice space, it can kind of look a bit, not redundant or mundane, but don't have that same degree of embellishment. I know in my neck of the woods, in my lens, most choreographies in the K-pop scene of things, in the J-pop scene of things, they are made not just for a fixed cam perspective, they're made for certain camera shots, for music shows, also for music videos, and for concerts. You notice that a lot of choreographies are adjusted for concert because they understand that most people are going to be looking at the choreo from one lens. They're not going to have multiple angles unless you're watching at home. So in a K-pop sense, in these types of things, just because we see them repeat something 3 times, it looks really cool here. Is it going to look that way in the dance practice? Most likely not, for being real, but is that okay? I personally think so, because they're not sitting here, performing that exact thing in front of an audience structured the exact same way. They are in this environment, in this take, and we can appreciate it as such. Now, it does make me curious about the dance practice. Are they going to vary that? Are they going to spice it up or do something different to it? I don't know. We'll find out. But I do want to make that clear too, that I'm not ignoring the fact that there's potential of some of these movements not coming across as captivating because some of our cinematic elements are really enhancing some of our choices, but that's their job, right? I mean, it's helping me really enjoy and melt in some of this choreo, which I'm loving. And that's kind of the point, not whether or not it can hold its own on a competition stage. It's not made for that, So we can really like it. The subtlety, I love that with the throw of him by himself, and it feels like it's tying into whatever they were doing collectively, which was really nice, but it's split between 2 completely different fits and environments, which is nice. Yeah, and it feels very cleaner here, but a little bit more, not rough, but unrefined, more full coming from Key as a soloist with a bedazzled fit. But here it feels very militant, but it matches that percussion, that snare. And so it both work in a really fun way. Cool. One feels like we're accenting do-do-do-do-do. I catch that whistle and notice the subtlety of the head. This feels more individualized, more artistic in his choices, and the other one feels more communal and militant to hit and kind of maybe polyrhythm through environment sharing, right? Maybe where both different sounds in the track give off different vibes and when you isolate them, and so he's showcasing potentially, it's just guessing over here, but how I'm taking it is how he's doing it over here is very individualized, and where it has his own little flavor that is really hard to replicate in a unison format, but with the other dancers they're able to hold on to that more militant, and in military you think unified and synchronized, and so having synchronicity there is really what helps validate that particular timbre of the track, and both kind of feel cohesive because the track has those 2 types of sounds married together to create something harmonious in this section. But that's just more of my particular hot take as a choreographer, or how I'm looking at the choreography, and I just like it. It helps me appreciate it more. Just that potential of that could be a reason why they have this choice here. I like the subtlety here of this kind of, I don't know if he's like walking or anything, but I like how he's, who's moving, a little snap with the head right here. The subtlety, the absence of density. And what I mean by that is just simple. Simple can go a long way. Doesn't mean easy. No. So whenever you walk, do be able to captivate your audience. Yes, the camera panning from a wide shot to a close can help with this, but they could hold it down even if it was just a fixed cam. Being able to walk together cohesively, but captivate independently but unified is a very impressive thing, and it requires a lot of maturity and confidence in yourself and in your craft and your ability as a mover to be able to just stand there and carry the stage. That's something that does take time to kind of get comfortable with, and some people naturally have it and their movement quality goes to meet it, but some people it takes some time. So I love the subtlety, but notice Key, he's in a more bedazzled fit, and because it's nighttime, his glistens a little bit more, and he added a little bit more fullness in his upper body, so it was easier to still see him there. Yep, there's this individualized little chest bop action there. We're here for it. Yeah. gosh, I love it. So notice that we have just some pedestrian walking going as a transition while they're still doing all their subtle, little toe tap, mountain climber vibes over here. We're here for it. And your pony, that was nice, having just your small group with Key doing your mountain climber, your house toe taps out of that, and then you have others moving, and then they join in on the pony. So I like that choice where you had some dynamics or some just different activities going on that are complementary, but then they all add on together after that phrase. It's really cool. Then we finish, boom, there's your subtlety with your levels represented. We're here for it. Then everybody makes their own choice. Do-do-do-doom. Right there on the bass guitar, we're here for it. I like that. Boom, 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 boom. He created some resistance. You hear that? The pull of the bass. We're here, and that kind of looks like a business card, doesn't it? But there's some rope, which tying things, so that's kind of it just kind of gives off that energy. I was not planning on doing a deep dive on the choreo, but it's too good to not talk about. I mean, sometimes if they didn't have as much of it in it, I think I would have been okay with waiting, but they had so much in here. There were so many deviations already in play that we just had to talk about. So, this was really good. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. Like I've mentioned, I have taken a look at not only Key's solo work from his debut as a soloist all the way until now. I've seen Shiny, the entire group, from their debut up until their most recent work, and I've also seen their most recent concert too. If that tells you how much time I've sat analyzing their movement, learning new things about myself as an artist through listening to their discography and seeing their movement progression over the years. It's just been nothing short of an incredible ride, and if you want in on it, I have all of it readily available on Patreon. There's still a couple of routines and tracks that will never make their way to YouTube just because of copyright and the material that I had to look at in order to see the dancing, but most of it will come out to YouTube in due time. There will be a couple of older reactions that get released by the time this gets out and about on YouTube, so you can go and enjoy that, but you don't have to wait if there's others that you want to see. They're all over there waiting for you. Once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.